So, my final question is, did you pretend as a child?
Yes, I did. I played a lot with toys. I didn't act things out as much as I remember, but I did use figurines. I remember I had dinosaurs. I had my finger puppets. As I matured, I had G.I. Joes. And I'm telling you, my best friend, Wes, we told stories with these G.I. Joes. I remember he taught me about sound effects. I remember the G.I. Joes they would take time out to actually pee, and then they would come back to the conversation and talk about this or that. So that tells me right there that we were living in a very, very real world to us. But yeah, I imagined things and played a lot as a kid. I'm trying to think of, but I never, it was always out here, which I think maybe, I don't know, speaks more to how I got into the work. But I remember it being out here and puppeteering stuff, but I never really learned how to puppeteer myself till I got here, I feel. How to sort of be the animation in a way. I would animate other things, but I realized here, oh, I could be that. And so constantly in the space object, and the sense object too, not just the space, but to think constantly, what's going on? How am I in this? What can I had a fight, so my eye might be swollen shut, and I might talk differently because my lip is bigger, because I just was in a fight, rather than just being in an improv fight. I thought, oh no, that's what happens in life. I need a steak for my eye, or maybe some ice for my lip. I found that I could just walk through door after door after door by asking questions. What's in there? Oh, a big fat lip. Okay. Oh, there's ice. Oh, there's a steak for your eye. That's what this taught me. To be the puppet, I guess, and I'm puppeteering it.
Well, my final question, which we touched on a little bit, but is for everyone is, do you remember pretending as a child? So besides the stuff you did with your family,
Yeah.
do you remember pretending as a child?
Oh, yeah. Well, there's the obvious, like, dolls,
Uh-huh.
assigning tasks to them. Not traditional roles, I might say. I had a Jill doll who was a parachutist, which pretty much meant tying a handkerchief and throwing him in the air, but, my friend Ava and we met when we were 5, and we could just drop into fantasy lands right away. We became fairies in the backyard, and her mother hated us because there's this plant that grows like on a long stalk, and then it goes boom, and we would just rip them out of the ground, and they were our wands. We could be fairies for hours. There was, halfway between our houses, there was a place that had 2 lions out in the front, and we could get on those lions and travel like forever. One of my greatest fantasies was Pegasus, so I would constantly pretend that I was riding a winged horse around the neighborhood when you could sort of leave the house and run around the neighborhood. Pretend. I just always felt like I lived in kind of a separate fantasy world.
There's my last question I'm asking everyone. Do you remember pretending as a child?
Yeah, Man from U.N.C.L.E. was huge for me. It was like James Bond on TV. So, I had straight blonde hair as a kid, so I could pretend to be Ilya Kuryakin and wear the black turtleneck and chase my friends around my yard and go to Golden Gate Park.
My last question for everyone has been, do you remember pretending as a child?
Oh, God, yes.
Oh, it was, oh my God. I actually tell people that the things I did as a child, I made a career up. It became my career. I feel so lucky, and the first memory I have was I used to tell stories in my head, who knows what was going on then. But I would tell stories, and it started out with Mighty Mouse. And I would have this story, and I'm rescuing Mighty Mouse, and he has a girlfriend, and they're living in my dollhouse. And I would tell the story, and then I would pick up where I left off if I had to wake up and go have breakfast or something, And then as I grew older, it would become like Batman and Robin. And then it would become the Monkees, the band, and then it would become something else. But it's like I was always telling these stories, and I was always sitting in my head telling these stories. And then once I got siblings, because that was before siblings, once I got siblings, it was on. It was all right. We were like doing shows, and I was directing them, and we were improvising all over the place. And outside, we didn't have like back in those days, we didn't have a bunch of go to soccer or, my mom would be like, go outside and play. And we didn't have many toys. So it's like we'd grab the ladder, and it was a raft in the middle of, the ocean, and there were sharks, and we had to stay on the ladder, but someone would fall off and we'd have to rescue them. And, it was all sorts of things. I'd have my brothers and sisters running in slow motion. It was so crazy. And then I think about all of that, and I just go, yeah, I grew up, and I was always telling what to do. And I grew up, my career became what I did as a kid that I loved so much. How cool is that?